Hello, and welcome to Grandkids and Grands YouTube channel. I'm Wendy Orton, and today I want to talk to you about something that's really important for grandparents to do, but it's not the most exciting thing, and that topic is wills. The reason that I bring this up is because I just recently learned that over 60%, think about that, over 60% of adults in Canada alone don't have a will or don't have an updated one. Now, I've been an executor for 3 individuals, and I cannot tell you what a mess you are leaving your family when you don't have a will. The thing is, nobody knows what to do with your things. Now, you may think, I don't have much, or it's not of value, or whatever. But when you pass on, your stuff stays here. You can't take it with you. So you're putting your children or your grandchildren in a position to make decisions on what they think you wanted at a time when they're grieving your loss. Now, have a quick look around you and remind yourself of what you have. Now, there's family heirlooms. There'll be things that are sentimental to you. And then have a conversation with their family. Ask them if there is anything that they want. And don't be offended if you don't get much of a response. Families today, they buy what they need, and they may not have room for the heirlooms. They may not have the sentimental connection to something that you did. Now, I'll give you an example. When my parents were alive, they got my 2 brothers and myself together and said, okay, we want to sign everything in the house. So when we pass away, everything is all decided. So we went through everything, and they assigned everything. They talked about China and the heirlooms and crystal and jewelry and furniture, like you name it, and we went through it. What the good thing was is when they passed away, it was all done. They saved us an incredible amount of time because it was already assigned. Now, between the time that they had done this and they had passed away, a lot had happened in our lives. Now, I had moved into a house that was substantially smaller than theirs. And my 2 brothers both had condos. They didn't have a room for a lot of stuff. So what we did was we went down the list that was assigned to us, and we took out the things that were most important to us. For example, my one brother wanted my dad's watches. My other brother wanted a couple of desks and a picture. I wanted these 2 statues. They mean nothing to anyone, and they had zero value, but they were important to me. So all that list, there were very few things that we actually took. Now, the rest of it, we either sold it or gave it to charity. Our parents, we know, would have been completely fine with that because they knew that we had what we wanted. But the thing is, they had the peace of mind that everything had been assigned, and it helped us tremendously at the time of death. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, I want to tell you about a family of 4 children who their parents had owned a family cottage. Now, they had all gone to the cottage, all growing up, and they all loved the cottage. But when their parents died, it wasn't explicit what was to happen to the cottage. So 3 of the kids didn't live in the area anymore. They didn't have any use for the cottage. They just wouldn't use it. So they thought, why don't we sell it? Well, the 4th child, there was sentimental value for him, and he wanted to keep it. Well, they all agreed they had sentimental value, but nobody was going to use it. Well, he wouldn't sell. He refused. So 3 years after the parents died, the cottage was sitting there, not used. Now, the one that wanted it said, if I'm going to take it, you have to pay me for the upkeep. And obviously the other 3 said, no, you can buy us out. But he said, no, he wanted them to pay him for the upkeep, and then he would use the cottage. 3 years later, still nothing. They can't come to an agreement. All that was required was the parents to say what was to be happening. Maybe all they had to put in, if it was what they wanted, sell the cottage and the proceeds divided 4 ways. That's all it took. One sentence would have taken care of all of it. But they didn't do that, and they created so much tension in the family unnecessarily. The point is, don't leave the decisions to your family when they are feeling your loss. What's important is that you give the instructions as what to do with your things, and think it through. Does the executor simply sell everything, give the money to charity? Or do you want it all sold and the proceeds then given equally to your children and your grandchildren? It's a very simple decision, but really helps your family in the end. Now, I get it. Writing a will or updating a will can be daunting, but it doesn't have to be. There's plenty of resources out there to help you. An estate lawyer or your financial advisor will be able to give you really good advice. The thing is, get started. Get the conversation rolling. If you have a will, now pull it out and make sure that it's up to date. Life changes, like the addition of a grandchild. Making a will or updating your current one, either way, you're going to be giving peace of mind for yourself and your family. And remember, it's never too early to start, but it can be too late. If you have any questions or comments about creating or updating your will, or even how to include your grandchildren in your will, leave them in the comments below. We can get an expert on and have your question answered. Anyway, that's all I wanted to do, to remind you to get started on your will or update your current one. Do it for your kids. Do it for your grandchildren. That's all. Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and have a grand day.